The Four Kinds of Approach. A Spiritual Discourse by Shrii Shrii Anandamurti. May 19, 1979 evening, Timmern, West Germany. You know, human expressions are trifarious in character. Human beings have so many physical manifestations, psychic desires and longings, and also a spiritual thirst. This spiritual thirst is the specialty, or rather the special characteristic, of human beings, and there lies the difference between man and other animals. Where there is no spiritual thirst in a man, physically he may be like a man, but actually, psychologically, he is not a man. So this special want of human beings should always be encouraged, so that man may develop from an ordinary human being to a Superman. His position should be exalted to that of Superman. And this is the only way, only secret, to encourage the supreme human propensity towards the Supreme Being. Yes, human expressions are trifarious in character, but human approaches are not trifarious. There are four kinds of human approach. 1. The physical approach. Human beings do so many things, have so many physical approaches, they have created so many sciences, just to get more physical pleasure. So many science subjects have been invented and will be invented. Here, that is, in inventing so many science subjects, man does not differentiate himself from animals, because science in some form or other is being invented, is being followed, by other animals also. Birds know how to prepare their nests in a very scientific style. Ants also have very developed science in their society. So this science, this physical science, is not something that may differentiate man from animal. The second human approach is physico-psychic and or the reverse approach, psychophysical. Here lie some differences between man and animal. In the case of animals or other creatures, the approach is physico-psychic, no doubt, but it is never psychophysical. In the case of man, it is both physico-psychic and psychophysical. And the third human approach is purely psychic. There are certain developed creatures, dogs, monkeys, where there is this psychic approach, a bit psychically developed animals have this want. And the last one, that is absent in all other animals, is the psycho-spiritual approach. This psycho-spiritual approach is developed or is created or can be found only at a certain stage of developed mind. It is a specialty of humans. If we are to establish ourselves in the full glory of humanity, we must encourage this psycho-spiritual approach, that is, spiritual sadhana. This psycho-spiritual approach starts from the realm of the mind, and ends in the jurisdiction of the supreme nucleus. Now for this, the movement of our existence should maintain a parallelism with the movement of our idea. Entitative waves maintaining a parallelism with incantative waves. And that's why I have said that ours is a subjective approach with objective adjustments. Those physical expressions, those psychophysical or physico-psychic expressions, and also the pure psychic expressions, all come within the scope of objective adjustment, and the last one, that is, the psycho-spiritual approach, is the subjective approach. Ours must be a happy blending of these two. In the case of the psycho-spiritual approach, or psycho-spiritual movement, we should always remember that human beings are just like electrons moving around the nucleus of an atom. And by dint of our spiritual cult we will have to reduce the difference between the moving electron and its nucleus. The length of the radius is to be lessened by dint of our sadhana. And a day is sure to come when the length of this radius will become zero and the electron will become one with the nucleus, that is, the jiva, the spiritual aspirant, will be one with Paramapurus, a. While doing spiritual practice, spiritual sadhana, while singing Kiirtana and dancing, we should remember the fact that all our spiritual activities are just a dance around Paramapurus, a. Lessening the distance, lessening the length of the radius, coming from close to closer proximity to our ideological desideratum. We should always remember this fact. And there cannot be any peace, any happiness, or any beatitude till the aspirant comes in tactual contact with the Supreme Self. May 19, 1979 evening, Timmern, West Germany. Published in Anundavarch Anarm Retarm Part 12. Baba in Fiesque. Another discourse follows in a moment. Lord Krishna, the nucleus of the universe. A spiritual discourse by Shrii Shrii Anandamurti. April 28, 1968, Ranchi. As has already been said, the events of the Mahabharata, as designed by Lord Krishna, were real, or seemed to be real historical facts to the masses. This entire quinquelemental universe is just the mental imagination of Parama Purusha, a macropsychic conation. All the characters and events in the Mahabharata were the products of the cosmic imagination, but for humans they are as good as real. Lord Krishna selected one specific role for himself to play. It is not proper to treat Parama Purusha as a representative of a particular age. He remains in his individual and collective pervasive association, in all countries, in all ages, in all microcosms. He is the life force of the entire universe. This expressed universe, though vast, Vishala, is not infinite, Virat, a. Though theoretically this universe is within the scope of measurement, in reality it's not easy to measure it. In the case of Virata, measurement is possible neither theoretically nor practically. As this expressed universe is bound by the bondages of the static principle, it has its limitations. In other spheres, the sentient and mutative principles are active, but the static is inactive. All these principles have their expressions, and that expression takes the form of bondage or limitations. Though this universe of ours has emanated from Nirgun, a Brahma, and is dominated by the static principle of Prakriti, still it has a nucleus of its own. This universal nucleus, this universal nave, this universal hub, is not dependent on any other entity. It is no other than Parama Purusha, or Purushottama Shri Krishna himself, who expresses himself both internally and externally. Now in his own creation he has kept a special role for himself. Such a personality is known as Mahasamhuti. Lord Shiva was one such personality, Lord Krishna was another such personality. He is beyond the scope of relativity, beyond the barriers of time, space, and person. He has his sub-centers, Upakendra, in each and every microcosm. During his advent as Mahasamhuti, these sub-centers also start working in full swing. He always controls the sub-centers whether he is in Mahasamhuti or not. Lord Krishna was in possession of occult powers from his childhood on. Some persons attain divinity by dint of prolonged sadhana, for instance Buddha and many others like him. But Lord Krishna was an embodiment of divine force from the time of his very birth. So he had no spiritual teacher as such. He himself was the original preceptor. Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna were expressions of the same entity, but there was a time difference of 3,500 years. Both of them were Mahasamhuti, and the sub-centers were Jivartmas, or unit consciousnesses which remained attached to living human bodies. The personal relationship between Parama Purusha and a unit, individual is termed Oda Yoga, and his pervasive association with the collectivity is termed Proto Yoga. Lord Krishna in human form, the historical Krishna, himself was such a sub-center. Parama Purusha is the absolute or supreme controller of all human actions. Each and every entity of this created world is attracted towards other entities. Attraction is a natural law. Repulsion is negative attraction. One who feels attracted towards subtle objects will not feel any attraction towards crude objects. Human beings as a rule feel much attraction towards Lord Krishna, for he is the final repository of supreme bliss. His irresistible attraction makes people almost mad. That's why he is called Krishna, that is, one who attracts others towards himself. Krishna has another meaning, one on whom depends others' existence. He exists, therefore I exist. Human intellect is his gift. The human mind is a gift from him. Even the very limbs of the human body are gifts from him. Once the mind is separated from the human body, the latter starts decomposing right away. Even the tiny protozoic cells act as sub-centers around the main center, and the very existence of all these cells is absolutely dependent on Krishna. April 28, 1968, Ranchi. Published in Discourses on the Mahabharata by Shrii Shrii Anandamurti. Another discourse follows in a moment. Kiirtana dispels calamities. A spiritual discourse by Shrii Shrii Anandamurti. May 16, 1982, Kolkata. I was saying yesterday that Kiirtana is a valuable aid in spiritual practice, sadhana, to accelerate the speed of human progress towards the supreme consciousness, sadhana sahayakam. But Kiirtana is not only helpful in the realm of spirituality, but also in all spheres of life. It banishes physical troubles and tribulations as well. Kiirtana fights against all mundane difficulties and finally becomes victorious. How does this happen? At the time of Kiirtana, so many people, so many devotees assemble, and all their collective physical energies function unitedly. But more than that, their collective psychic energies are flowing in the same channel under the inspiration of Paramapurusha. So many minds are being loved by Paramapurusha, so many minds are being guided and inspired by that super-celestial entity. So at the place of Kiirtana, not only will there be a huge concentration of physical energies, but also of psychic energy which will remove collective accumulated miseries of this material, quinquelemental world. Moreover, those people doing Kiirtana are the devotees of the Lord, and they have already placed a throne for Paramapurusha in their hearts. So when there is Kiirtana, Paramapurusha immediately comes to sit on the throne of their hearts. The divine seat, the universal hub of Paramapurusha, is shifted there. That spot becomes the capital of Paramapurusha. Why does he come there? I will not sit on the thrones of the devotees' hearts. Paramapurusha cannot say this. He will have to sit there, he will be compelled to sit there. In this way the unit minds, by the inspiration they receive from Paramapurusha, become irresistibly powerful. No worldly obstacles can stand before their tremendous spiritual force. Thus Kiirtana is helpful not only for spiritual sadhana but also for removing worldly difficulties. The physical afflictions of this material world are caused partly by nature, and partly by human beings themselves. Now, whatever might be the physical miseries, be they natural or man-made, if people collectively chant Kiirtana, the calamities are dispelled then and there. In case of natural calamities like flood, famine, drought, or epidemic, or man-made calamities, miseries, and tortures, if Kiirtana is chanted with maximum sincerity, it will bring direct relief in no time. In addition, Kiirtana removes the collective psychic afflictions as well, those which are already existing, and those which have not yet arrived but about which we have premonitions of their impending arrival. If Kiirtana is done in advance, those impending troubles disappear. Why do they disappear? They are dispelled not merely because of the collective mental force of so many people, but also due to the impact of so many minds moving with tremendous speed under the inspiration of Paramapurusha. At the place of Kiirtana, not only the people who are themselves doing Kiirtana will be benefited, but also those who are not participating, and even those who are not participating and who do not even like it, they will also be benefited. Those who listen sincerely to the chanting of Kiirtana will be benefited, and those who do not listen sincerely but simply hear inadvertently without any respect, they too will be benefited. Svadhyaya va, either with veneration or without. That is why I say that it is imperative for every intelligent person, every wise person, every clever person, to always do Kiirtana, without any consideration of time, place, and person. And those who do Kiirtana should always remember that the hands of Paramapurusha bestowing blessing will always be with them. May 16, 1982, Kolkata. Published in Ananda Vachanam Readam Part 22, unpublished in English. Sam, G.I. Taught, Song, Dance, and Instrumental Music, a compilation.